I am Megan Ferrat, and I guess I am Annemarie Schwarzenbach.
I am Pauline Leprince, and I play Annemarie Schwarzenbach.
I am Véronique Aubouy, the director of the film.
I am Valentin Jean and I play Annemarie Schwarzenbach.
So it's a film about young people today who try to incarnate a writer from the 30s, Swiss writer who traveled very far. And through the casting, they incarnate her and they build some kind of a general personality made of a little of everything.
So welcome to the Berlinale. You just arrived, I heard, and to the Teddy Awards as well. You brought a film. It's some sort of a mixture, I would say, of a documentary and fictionalized hybrid sort of film called Je suis Annemarie Schwarzenbach. And first I would like to know, how did you come across that person or that character? Is that like someone you've been admiring for a long time? Or
yes.
Is she an idol or something? Okay.
Yes, a very long time, actually. First time I read, it was like 20 years ago. Okay. And then I read. I'm just very fond of that person, of her freedom, of really the way she always reacts very naturally and very directly to everything she sees. She always has a personal view on politics or things she sees, you know. So I think she's a really interesting person to question today through our young persons, because they are very young.
Yes.
Yes.
How old? How old are they?
21.
Okay.
23.
The same, 21.
21. Okay. So was your idea was to sort of adapt her writing and work to the contemporary times or the times we live in?
Yes, my idea was to actually question the young people of today, you know, about their questions, their troubles, everything they ask themselves about politics, sexuality, all the troubles, you know, and through that person who is Annemarie Schwarzenbach, and so they invent themselves through her and invent her through them.
And what again is so special? What is she offering which is so special to you?
Well, really, it's that freedom I was talking about. Yes, because she, you know, she was intellectual. She was living in an intellectual surrounding, but she really always would react just directly. She would never think, oh, I have to think this because of that, and you know, so no connections, really, and especially because she was a great traveler, you know. She traveled until she went to Afghanistan, for instance, in car with Ella Maya in the 30s, and always she would see how the women would live, and she would go and ask them and try, can I be invited at your place, and we talk and we take tea, and you explain to me how you live, and really she was very accurate. And
like an anthropologist, or what, a little bit, or like a
yes, but she was a writer, and that is what interests me the most, of course, because that's all it is translated into literature.
Yes.
And what she writes can be so beautiful sometimes, but you know, it's not that she writes and writes and writes. She writes directly, something which is all of a sudden very poetical and very special, very just.
And at the same time, I guess, but you also have to mention that she comes from a very wealthy background, so she had the financial opportunity to do this, right? So this is, I think, really important to mention too.
Yes, the interesting thing in that person is the contradictions, you know, because she was very rich, she was very beautiful, and she would live freely her homosexuality, you know, totally freely, dressed as a man. And she was very much engaged also politically. She really, you know, in 1938, she went to Austria, occupied Austria, and she helped some Jews out with passports. She was really not only a writer, but also very, and that she could make it because she was Swiss and rich.
Yes, yes.
You know.
So how did you work with the young people, and what was your goal? Like, did you use a technique, or like how did you collaborate together?
Well, the idea was really, we all knew.
How do you know each other from first?
We made a casting, you know. It's a casting.
Okay.
So we made a casting. I made a website. You know, and so they came and were candidates. Okay, and so the idea was really you talk about you today, but through everything that Annemarie inspires you in yourself.
Yes, like you see in the film.
Like you see in the film. But of course, what interests me is you talked of the border between fiction and documentary, but you know, it's also a border between real and false, because who are they when they are in the film? You don't know anymore. And you know, that's what I'm working on, that idea that a person, well, the question of identity, of course, you know, so who is a person exactly? And in this film, everything moves, you know. They are men, but they are women. They are one person altogether. You never know quite. They are Annemarie. Who is who?
Who are they? Yeah.
Everybody finally is Annemarie.
So how did you experience the process of working together?
Why are you looking?
I mean, you can also answer in French, and then maybe you're
bien sûr.
translate.
Some kind of.
I will say that cette ambiguïté, je sais pas comment dire.
Ambiguity. That
ambiguity. It was very difficult to practice it. You don't even know where you are, if you're playing Annemarie, if you're you yourself. And it was my first movie, so I was like,
yeah, she was 19.
What? And it was difficult, but very interesting. Weird and interesting, so that's very good. I have very good experience. Very good. Thank you.
You know, I wanted to work with young people, very young people, and they were very young. They were 19. Well, you were 20 already, but and because, you know, there is that
Ambiguity.
Thank you. Ambiguity. It's almost, they are not adolescents, but almost, you know, they're just out of the adolescence. So they still have their doubts and, you know, about the body, who am I? And
it never stops, though.
It never stops. We know that.
To be honest, right?
But it's visible, yes, but I'm talking as an image.
Yes.
The image is very talkative when they are so young.
How did you experience that?
It was very strange because I have to play a woman and I am a man, but I don't have to play. I don't know
Just
how to say.
Woman. You have to play
Yes,
Annemarie.
a woman who look like a man and who is homosexual and who is.
Androgynous.
Androgynous.
Ah, oui, ça,
and it was very difficult to play because I don't have to be a man, but a woman, homosexual, who look like a man. And I loved this because it was a challenge and I love challenges.
And you were the only man.
Yes, I was the only man.
Yes,
was a privilege. So.
How about you? How did you?
That's very crazy because you play Euro and Annemarie Schwarzenbach, and you are a 5 girl or a boy, and you are you, but Annemarie Schwarzenbach, and you are your AD, and it's very crazy because you don't know it's Euro or Annemarie Schwarzenbach, and when you see the movie, wow, it's so crazy because it's you, but you are in Annemarie Schwarzenbach, and it's very fun, yeah, very cool.
And how do you feel about the end product now when you see it? The end product, like the finished version, like how do you?
Well, I'm very fond of it. You know, what astonishes me is that feeling that they are all Annemarie Schwarzenbach. And, well, we don't know yet. We don't know really when we see the film and we don't know Annemarie Schwarzenbach. I think we don't know who Annemarie Schwarzenbach is. But anyway, she is really incarnated with many different faces, you know. He's very much the sensitive face, you know, and you are the la grande bourgeoise. No, in the film, of course, and you are the doubtful Annemarie, really rock and roll, and Julia. Well, you know, and also the musicians. You see the musicians. Also, they are a way to question.
Questions?
Question the Annemarie.
Okay.
Question the Annemarie, of course.
Did you already get some reactions from audience members, or you didn't really screen it yet?
You know, no, it's the first screening here.
Yes.
Tomorrow is the first screening public where we will be. And I know there was one in Berlin a few days ago.
Yes.
But, voilà.
Are you nervous seeing yourself on the big screen?
Yes.
Have you experienced that? No.
Once, only once.
Okay.
You're a bit.
Are you gonna drink a little bit before tomorrow, maybe? It helps.
Two glasses of whiskey.
Yes, it helps, really. Okay, thank you so much for coming
you.
and sharing
Thanks to you.
all the
Thank
projects
you.
and the ideas.
Personality made of a little of everything.
So welcome to the Berlinale. You just arrived, I heard, and to the Teddy Awards as well. You brought a film. It's some sort of a mixture, I would say, of a documentary and fictionalized hybrid sort of film called Je suis Annemarie Schwarzenbach. And first, I would like to know, how did you come across that person or that character? Is that like someone you've been admiring for?
I am Megan Ferrat, and I guess I am Annemarie Schwarzenbach.
I am Pauline Prince, and I play Annemarie Schwarzenbach.
I am Véronique Aubouy, the director of the film.
I am Valentin Jean and I play Annemarie Schwarzenbach.
So it's a film about young people today who try to incarnate a writer from the 30s, Swiss writer who traveled very far, and through the casting they incarnate her and they build some kind of a general